What if I told you that someone has been carrying a secret so powerful, so life-altering, that it has quietly shaped their thoughts for years? And that secret is you. While you've been living your life, someone may have been fighting a silent battle between fear and love, and that silence is reaching its breaking point. In this video, we're going to explore why certain people hide their deepest feelings, what happens inside the human psyche when love remains unspoken, and the unmistakable signs that someone is preparing to finally reveal what they've felt since the very first moment they met you. What you'll discover may completely change how you see your relationships. If this message is resonating with you so far, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your experience below. Your story might help someone else understand their own journey. As we continue, you'll discover the psychological signs that often appear when someone has secretly loved you since the day they met you, and why that hidden truth may finally be ready to emerge into the light. Imagine for a moment that the most important emotions in a person's life do not begin in the conscious mind at all. Before words are spoken, before intentions are understood, and long before someone admits what they feel, something deeper may already be taking place beneath awareness. When a person first meets someone who profoundly affects them, they often cannot explain why that encounter feels different. They may tell themselves it is simple attraction, curiosity, or coincidence. Yet the feeling persists because it originates from a deeper layer of the psyche. The unconscious mind constantly searches for meaning, connection, and wholeness. Sometimes another person appears to embody qualities that have been missing within us, qualities we admire, seek, or secretly long to develop. The result is an immediate emotional resonance that feels strangely familiar. A person may find themselves thinking about you unexpectedly, remembering small details about your conversations, or feeling drawn toward you without understanding the reason. Because these feelings arise before conscious understanding, they can remain hidden for months or even years. The individual may resist them, rationalize them, or attempt to ignore them entirely. Yet the emotional energy remains active beneath the surface. It influences decisions, shapes attention, and quietly pulls them back toward the person who awakens something significant within them. What appears on the outside as hesitation or uncertainty may actually be the struggle to understand emotions that began long before they were fully recognized or accepted. There are people who carry love in silence, not because their feelings are weak, but because those feelings are so powerful that speaking them aloud feels overwhelming. When someone has been deeply affected by you since the day they met you, they may spend years wrestling with an internal conflict between what they feel and what they believe is safe to reveal. The heart urges expression, while fear demands restraint. Fear takes many forms. Some fear rejection and the possibility of losing even the small connection they already have with you. Others fear changing the balance of a friendship, a working relationship, or a situation that feels stable. There are also those who doubt their own worthiness. They may believe that their feelings are genuine, but secretly question whether they could ever be loved in return. As time passes, this silence becomes increasingly difficult to maintain. Every meaningful interaction adds weight to emotions that have never been expressed. Small moments become significant memories. Casual conversations are replayed repeatedly in the mind. A simple message or brief encounter can influence their mood far more than they would ever admit. What makes hidden love especially intense is that it often grows in private. Without open conversation, the imagination fills the empty spaces. Possibilities are explored internally rather than shared openly. The person develops an emotional world centered around feelings they cannot easily express. Eventually, the pressure between what is felt and what is spoken becomes so great that the truth begins searching for a way to reveal itself, whether through actions, words, or unexpected moments of honesty. One of the deepest reasons a person can fall in love almost immediately is that they are not only seeing you, they are also encountering parts of themselves reflected through you. Human beings often carry hidden desires, unrealized potential, and qualities they admire but have not fully developed. When they meet someone who embodies those qualities, a powerful psychological process begins. They feel drawn to that person in a way that seems almost impossible to explain. At first, they may believe they are simply fascinated by your appearance, personality, or presence. But the attraction runs deeper than surface characteristics. Something within them recognizes a connection to an inner need, a longing, or a dream they have carried for years. You become associated with possibilities they have not yet explored within themselves. Because of this, their feelings can seem unusually intense, even from the very beginning. This experience often creates confusion. The person may wonder why they think about you so often, or why your opinions matter so much to them. They may find themselves idealizing you, imagining qualities that go beyond what they actually know. In reality, part of what they are seeing is their own inner world reflected onto you. The connection feels magical because it combines genuine affection with personal meaning. Over time, reality gradually replaces fantasy. If the feelings are authentic, they do not disappear when imperfections become visible. Instead, the attraction matures. The person begins to appreciate who you truly are, rather than who they imagined you to be. What started as an unconscious projection slowly transforms into a more conscious and meaningful form of love, rooted in understanding rather than illusion. Many people assume that love is proven through constant declarations, dramatic gestures, and endless expressions of affection. Yet some of the deepest feelings are revealed through silence rather than words. When someone has been in love with you since the day they met you, they may not always know how to communicate what they feel. Instead, their emotions emerge through attention, presence, and the subtle ways they remain connected to your life. Silence is often misunderstood. It is easy to assume that a person who says little feels little. In reality, the opposite can sometimes be true. Strong emotions can create hesitation. The more meaningful someone becomes, the greater the fear of saying the wrong thing, being misunderstood, or exposing a vulnerable part of themselves. As a result, they may choose observation over expression. You might notice that they remember details others forget. They recall conversations from months or even years ago. They pay attention to changes in your mood, your interests, and your personal struggles. They seem emotionally present even when they are physically distant. These behaviors often communicate more than words ever could. The unconscious mind reveals itself through consistent focus. People naturally invest attention in what matters most to them. When someone repeatedly returns to thoughts of you, notices small details, and remains emotionally invested despite long periods of silence, they are expressing something profound without directly stating it. Over time, this silent devotion creates its own form of communication. The feelings become visible through patterns rather than declarations. What remains unspoken often carries tremendous emotional weight, revealing a depth of affection that ordinary words may never fully capture. There are moments in life when meeting someone feels strangely familiar, as if the encounter is not entirely new. You may have just met, yet there is an immediate sense of recognition that defies logic. This experience often leaves a lasting impression because it touches something deeper than ordinary attraction. It feels as though the connection reaches beyond personalities, circumstances, and first impressions, into a more profound layer of human experience. When a person feels this kind of bond, they often struggle to explain it. They cannot point to a specific reason why you stand out from everyone else. There may be many attractive, intelligent, or interesting people in their life, yet something about you captures their attention in a unique way. Your presence awakens emotions, thoughts, and possibilities that had remained dormant within them. This recognition is not necessarily about destiny or certainty. Rather, it reflects the psyche's tendency to respond strongly to people who resonate with important aspects of our inner world. Such individuals often inspire growth, self-discovery, and transformation. They challenge us to confront hidden fears, explore neglected strengths, and move closer to who we are capable of becoming. Because the experience feels meaningful, it can remain alive in the mind for years. Even when circumstances prevent the relationship from developing, the emotional impact does not easily fade. The person continues to feel connected to the significance of that encounter. In many cases, what begins as a mysterious sense of recognition gradually evolves into deep affection, making it difficult to forget the individual who first awakened those powerful emotions within them. When love remains unspoken, it does not simply disappear. The human psyche is not designed to quietly abandon emotions that carry deep meaning. Instead, those feelings continue to exist beneath the surface, creating a subtle tension between what is experienced internally and what is expressed externally. The longer this tension remains unresolved, the more influence it begins to have over a person's thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Someone who has secretly loved you since the day they met you may appear calm on the outside while experiencing an entirely different reality within. They might go about their daily life, fulfill responsibilities, and maintain ordinary relationships, yet thoughts of you continue to emerge unexpectedly. A song, a place, a conversation, or a passing memory can instantly bring those feelings back into focus. What was never spoken becomes impossible to completely escape. This inner conflict grows because every human being seeks psychological balance. When there is a significant gap between truth and expression, the mind naturally attempts to close it. The person may find themselves imagining conversations that never happened, rehearsing confessions they never make, or wondering how life might have unfolded if they had been honest from the beginning. Over time, the emotional energy behind these hidden feelings seeks an outlet. It may appear through increased attention, unusual nervousness, meaningful gestures, or moments of unexpected vulnerability. The person may not consciously decide to reveal their emotions, yet the pressure created by years of silence makes concealment increasingly difficult. Eventually, what has been buried deep within often begins moving toward the surface, driven by a powerful desire for authenticity and emotional truth. Before a person finally admits they have been in love with you since the day they met you, there are often subtle signs that something important is happening beneath the surface. These signs rarely appear as dramatic declarations. Instead, they emerge through patterns, coincidences, and behaviors that reveal an internal shift. The unconscious mind frequently communicates long before the conscious mind is ready to speak openly. One of the first signs is an increase in emotional presence. The person begins finding reasons to stay connected, even when there is no practical need to do so. Conversations become more meaningful. Their attention feels deeper and more focused. They seem genuinely interested not only in what you do, but in who you are becoming. Another sign is a growing difficulty in maintaining emotional distance. Someone who has hidden their feelings for a long time may suddenly become more expressive, more vulnerable, or more curious about your personal life. They may ask questions they once avoided, or reveal things about themselves that they previously kept private. The barriers they carefully constructed begin to weaken. You may also notice moments that feel unusually sincere. Their words carry more emotional weight. Their reactions become more authentic. There is a sense that they are no longer content with remaining on the surface of the relationship. These changes occur because hidden emotions naturally seek recognition. The longer genuine feelings remain suppressed, the harder they become to contain. What appears to be coincidence is often the psyche preparing itself for honesty. The person is gradually moving from secrecy toward revelation, from uncertainty toward courage, and from silent longing toward the possibility of finally sharing what has lived within them for so long. The moment someone finally admits they have been in love with you since the day they met you is about far more than romance. On the surface, it may appear to be a simple confession, a long-awaited revelation of hidden feelings. Yet beneath those words lies something much deeper, a profound act of personal transformation. For many people, speaking such a truth requires them to confront fears they have carried for years. Throughout their silence, They may have protected themselves with excuses, rationalizations, and carefully maintained emotional distance. They convinced themselves that the timing was wrong, that the risk was too great, or that their feelings would eventually disappear. But genuine emotions rarely vanish simply because they are ignored. Instead, they continue shaping the inner life of the individual, quietly demanding acknowledgement. The decision to confess represents a turning point. It is the moment a person chooses authenticity over safety. They stop hiding behind uncertainty and allow themselves to be seen as they truly are. Whether the outcome brings acceptance or rejection becomes secondary to the courage required to speak honestly. This is why such confessions often feel so powerful. The words themselves matter, but the transformation behind them matters even more. The individual is no longer willing to live divided between what they feel and what they express. They are choosing wholeness over concealment. In many ways, the confession is not the end of a journey, but the beginning of one. It marks the transition from fantasy to reality, from silence to truth, and from hidden longing to the possibility of a genuine connection built upon openness, vulnerability, and emotional courage. As we come to the end of this journey, remember that some of the most important stories in life are written in silence, long before they are spoken aloud. A person can carry love for years, hiding it beneath everyday conversations, cautious smiles, and unspoken hopes. What appears on the surface as ordinary interaction may conceal an emotional world filled with longing, admiration, and deep personal meaning. When someone has loved you since the moment they met you, their feelings are rarely just about attraction. They are often connected to growth, self-discovery, and the search for something meaningful within themselves. That is why these emotions can remain alive for so long, even when they are never expressed. The heart continues to remember what the mind tries to forget. If someone is indeed preparing to reveal what they have carried in secret, understand that such a confession is not merely a statement of affection. It is an act of courage. It is the decision to step beyond fear and embrace truth. Whether that truth leads to a new relationship, a deeper friendship, or simply greater understanding, it has the power to transform both people involved. So pay attention to the quiet signals, the meaningful moments, and the connections that seem to resist explanation. Sometimes the most life-changing words are not spoken immediately. They wait for the right moment, gathering strength in silence until they can no longer remain hidden. And when that moment finally arrives, it often reveals that a love story began much earlier than anyone ever realized.